What's up, folks? It's 4:30, and it's hump day. Cheers. Waterloo, black cherry. All right, there you go, Waterloo. That's your plug for the day. I don't know who cans this shit. Waterloo.com. Austin, Texas. Hey, but two things that come out of Texas, that's queers and steers. Which one are you? Yeah. What's up, folks? Man, what a nice day. Hey, it's kind of nice out. It's freaking, what, 70 degrees? My temperature thing says it's 93, but it's not 93 out, I can tell you that. It's nice and cool and breezy. It started off hot this morning, but it's not hot right now. Matter of fact, I didn't have that sweltering heat hit me in the face when I got in my car as usual, like I usually do. Yeah. All right, come on, people. Drive a little faster. Yep, come on, dumbass. I saw you pull out. I'm not going to pull out in front of you. Oh, way to go, moron. All right. Here we go. On my way home. Thank God, finally. Another 10-hour day in the books. So what's up, y'all? How's everybody doing? I'm talking to nobody, like as usual. I don't have any viewers as of yet. Somebody will pop in here in a second. It usually happens when I get up here by the Ford place. Somebody will pop in, they'll check me out, and then they pop out again. And I'm always the one that gets fooled by thinking, well, I got some viewers today. But, yeah, probably won't have any today. Or not a lot anyway. Hopefully I will. We'll see as I get closer to home. I don't know which way to go today, though. I'm hoping maybe if I just go the short way home, I don't have to stop and get gas today, so I may just go to a short way home today. Regardless of which way I go, it's still like, I don't know, it's like 23 miles or 22 miles one way and like just under 21 miles the other way. Or something to that effect anyway. But it's a nice drive. I hate riding on Interstate 70. Interstate 70 is a quick way home. What's up, viewer? How you doing? Hope you stay around a little bit if you want to, if and you want to. What was they used to say on the Little Rascal show? Yep, I guess they didn't want to. They took off. That's all right. Yep. What's up, viewer? How you doing? I don't know who you are, but you can type something. I'll give you a free shout out. How about that? So I got a question for you. If an electrician has a kid and that kid's behavior isn't that well or that good, does the electrician ground him? I'm just, I just want to know. Yeah. That's an electrician joke. You wouldn't get it unless you're an electrician like me. Or I used to be an electrician anyway. But I traded up and got something more lucrative for me anyway. Yeah, I don't have to work nearly as hard. I don't have to keep up with nearly as much shit as I used to. Damn, that's a nice looking truck. Toyota. Is that a 4Runner? TRD Pro? CRT, I don't know what the hell that is. It's a nice truck though, a Toyota. It's like an SUV. It's got a luggage rack on top, a stripe down the orange stripe down the side, 4-wheel drive, fog lights, and stuff like that. Really nice car, truck. Anyway, I'm just gonna sit here and run my mouth for a little bit. Hope you guys don't mind. Now that the work day is over, 10 hours is so long. mostly doing what I do. You know, I sit at the desk about half the day, and then I'm taking photos and doing computer work and stuff like that. But it's lucrative, and there's a lot of this job security. That's what I like about it the most. As long as people need commercial vehicles, I've got a job. Yeah. I don't know if people are new to my channel, or if you've been here before, you've heard me talk about what I do for a living. If you don't know and you'd like to know, put your comment down in the bottom there, and I'll answer your question. I'll give you a shout out too if you like a shout out. Of course, I don't know. There's probably a lot of people on here from like across seas and shit, because you guys are already off work. You've worked your work day. Probably are either are getting ready to have dinner or have already had dinner. Some of you are probably getting ready to go to bed. I'm talking about you folks over there in Europe, Russia, Asia, India, Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, as they call it. Yeah, you guys over there, what are you, like 6 hours ahead of us, something like that? Yep, hello new viewers, good to see you in there. Yep, so I'm on my way home from work. I do this like 3 times a week, or at least I try to anyway. I'll talk about this now so that I'm not talking about it, you know, when I get home. I try to do videos about 3 times a week. I've got a little over 500 videos that are on my page. I've got all kinds of stuff on there. I've got concert videos, I've got funny videos, I've got animal videos, dog videos, just, you know, dumb shit that I've done with my camera over the years. I've got some ocean shots on there, traveling, you know, but I do live videos like 3 times a week. So, I don't know, you know, I get pretty good turnout, I guess. You know, I have an average about 60 people, you know, a day watch my videos or something like that. I've had more views, but I guess it's all according to what time I'm on too, because some people, you know, they come in early and they're, you know, like after work or whatever. Other people are in a little later. Football, what about football? Deanna, there's your shout out. What about football? You want to talk about football? Is that it? Football. Well, you know, in Europe, football is soccer, right? Football videos. Yeah, I've got football videos on there too. Yeah, I forgot about those. But unless you're a sports fan, you probably won't like my football videos. Most of those, well, actually all of those are going to be St. Louis Battlehawks games. That's our football team here in St. Louis. Not the NFL, it's the UFL, XFL, USFL, all combined. It's a spring league football, you know. But so yeah, football videos too, and then, you know, videos of the crowds and videos walking through the arena or the stadium, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty cool stuff. Ah, look, there's a car just like mine. I bet you ain't got a black hood on his. Nope. You don't have a black hood like I do, because that one's not as cool as mine. That's right. Mowing videos, yeah, I've got a couple of mowing videos on there where I mow the yard. I move the camera around so you guys can see how good of a job I do. Stuff like that. Yeah. So anyway, it was a pretty decent day today. Deanna, there's something I'm going to need to talk to you about when I get home. Don't worry, it's job related, but it doesn't pertain to me. But you'll like it, or you'll be shocked or surprised, or something like that. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about it right now. It'll take away from the what we call the mystery or the shock and awe. pretty surprising. I was pretty surprised. I'm a little disappointed, but I'm pretty surprised too. But we can talk about that when I come home. You tease, I know. You used to call me a tease all the time. I don't know what the hell happened to that. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Uh-oh, she says. Oh, so I went to see the new Fantastic Four movie last night. Now, I'm not going to get into the details about it. For those of you who, well, I only have one person watching, so she knows what happened in the movie. So maybe I'll just hold off until some other people come on and I'll talk about it. It was better than I expected it to be. I did like the special effects were really cool. Marvel Comics. I don't know. You know, it's one of those movies where you got to pay attention, kind of. You know, of course, I think they're all like that. But it was a pretty decent movie, anyway. And interesting. But, like, and it's pretty fast-paced, too. Like, towards the end, it's pretty fast-paced. But, anyway. So I'm surprised Ashley's not on here today. She's usually stalking me about this time. She might come back and watch it later. I don't know. I'll have to see. One of them plates looks like crap. Actually, that's tracks. It's amazing to me. These brand new cars, people fucking destroy them. I don't understand it. I got 2 viewers now. Boy, I'm moving up in the world. How about that? So I got D still there. I don't know who the other person is. Hey, person. No, I guess they took off. They didn't like what I had to say or the lack of what I was saying. You know. Anyway. You know, I was talking the other day about how people... you know, it's amazing to me some of the views that these people get. And like I said, I don't know if it's like the time of day I'm doing this, or if I just, you know, I don't do enough long live videos, or because see, I know that most people these days are so distracted about, you know, things that are going on in their life and all that, that people have a very short attention span. If I make my videos too long, without actually planning on having something to talk about or having some kind of a basis for conversation, people are going to get bored with my videos, so I keep them short. You know, I usually do this, like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Every once in a great while, I'll shoot a video on a Saturday or a Sunday. Usually it's going to be a short video. But I've got like 550, I think I've got 550 subscribers now, which is pretty good. And as always, and I'll say it again, I'm not like monetized for this. I just do this because I like doing it, you know, just because I can. And so I do this 3 days a week. And, you know, it's nice when people respond. It's nice when people, you know, interact with me, but I am driving, so I don't really get a lot of the interaction part, you know, especially when it's really hot. And I know that doesn't have a lot to do with it, but, you know, a lot of times when it's real hot, I don't really feel like talking too much, and I'd like for other people to do some more of the talking, you know, kind of find things to keep it rolling. But anyway, so 30 minutes is about what I usually do. I just feel like, you know, when I think, I don't feel like nothing. It's not about my feelings. But anyway, so I think that, you know, people have a real short attention span these days. So I have to keep it, you know, kind of to a minimum. I have to keep it interesting. And but it really surprises me. You know, a lot of people out there doing these videos, and I guess they have a pretty good base crowd or base fan base or whatever you want to call it. So you know they can sit and drive around, you know, doing their Ubers or whatever, and or their DoorDash, or you know what's the other DoorDash, and there's another one I can't remember, some stuff, Grubhub. That sound right? I don't know. But anyway, so like these people, you know, I'm hot. Well, thank you very much. I happen to think you are too. But we don't need to get a room. But anyway, so you know, these people, you know, they have like 400 or 500 people watching them at a time. I'd really like to get my channel to that point, you know, where I do have 300 or 400 views, like as I'm talking. But unfortunately enough for me, I'm not a Brad Barton or a Mike the Patriot Cook or any of those guys. You know, and I really don't want to talk about politics and religion, even though I know that those are topics that are, you know, more interesting, and you know, current events and things like that. So I got to find a niche. I got to find something that, you know, like at one point I bought a green screen. Well, somebody gave me a green screen either for Christmas, birthday, Father's Day. I don't know. D did it, and they're boring. What's boring? Oh, politics and religion. Yeah, they're boring. So, but that seems to be things that people are interested in, and controversy and things like that. But I don't want to be that, you know, drab, you know, person that has an opinion and not willing to bend or break. You know what I mean? I'd like for people to be able to conversate about other things, you know, on my page or my channel, and you know, have a place to kind of get away from all that, because you know, like you said, it's boring and it's drab, and it just, you know, it doesn't suit my mood usually. I mean, every once in a while I get fired up, like I did. What was it? I did a video Monday about insurance companies. I got pretty fired up. Wacky Wednesday or Thirsty Thursday. Well, see, I don't do videos on Thursdays though. It's just, I usually do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now I could include a Thursday. I have included Thursdays before, but I don't, you know. I guess I'm just, on days that I'm gonna have videos, I'm just gonna have to start like finding things on Instagram to talk about, or you know, stuff like that. Which, you know, one of the things you got to pay attention to, especially on Instagram these days, there's a lot of AI stuff out there, and you know, when you see things on Instagram, you really have to pay attention, because a lot of that stuff is AI these days, and you know, in some cases you really can't tell. Now, I showed Dee a picture the other day. There was one of these ads on there for like AI companionship or some bullshit like that, and there was a chick on there that she had like 5 fingers, but no thumb. We didn't see a thumb. I did a screenshot of the thing. It's too bad I can't show you on here, but I did a screenshot of this girl, and she was AI, and she had 6 fingers. And I was like, man, that's kind of strange. I said, hey, Dee, you want to see something kind of weird? And she, you know, Dee's always for something weird. So I showed her, and she's like, I said, look at this picture, tell me what's wrong. And she caught it immediately. You know, she's pretty observant with stuff like 2 characters, you know, look like real live people. You know, like Velma, you know, the girl that was on, what was that, Scooby-Doo? The chick with glasses, the little nerd girl. Yeah, her, Velma. Yeah, they've got her as an AI girl, but she's, they've tried to make her like a real girl and make her really hot or something. I don't know. But anyway, so, but that's the thing, is that, you know, a lot of these AI productions or AI shorts or whatever, they have to do with political things. It was definitely AI. Yeah, it was definitely AI. That's for sure. But you know, they they do a lot of this political stuff to kind of throw people off, and it's like people are so, I don't know, people are so susceptible or more easily distracted and manipulated these days, more so than they were 20 years ago. Now, of course, you've got the media working against people, and you've got these politicians telling their lies, and you've got, like your what's that website? There's a group on Facebook called Occupy Democrat, and man, those people, whoo, they're out there. But I mean, there's a lot of that kind of stuff that people unfortunately are easily fooled by. But it's computer generated, it's AI, it's not real, and they have a tendency to think it is, or their mind tricks them into believing, hey, this stuff's real because it looks real, and they get comfortable with it, and then they forget, hey, this stuff's computer generated, and then they want to like follow these things. I don't get it, but it's so anyway, if you use a computer a lot, especially like on Facebook and things, because there's a lot of fake stories out there, look at, you have to pay special close attention to like minor details, like fingers, for instance, like the thing that Dee and I, caught the other night. The fingers, the girl had 5 fingers on one hand. A lot of times their eyes won't be even, or they'll be real close together, or they'll just even look fake. You can tell by looking if they're like really glazed over. Like human skin, when you're looking at it on a computer, it doesn't look like glazed and shiny, unless the person just has really oily skin. But the AI, they tend to look a little waxed. You know what I mean? So you got to really be careful and look for that kind of stuff. All right, let's see here. What's hitting the dashboard? Sounds like something hitting the dashboard, but I don't know. There's nothing hitting the dashboard, baby. This thing's not even touching the dashboard. Politics and religion don't benefit you at all, Ash. No, they don't. We talk about, Dee and I talk about politics and religion sometimes. We share with stuff, with each other here and there, but we don't base our life on. A lot of people base their whole life on politics and religion. That's just not something that. I mean, I got into it for a while. Like, I was in the rabbit hole really bad at one point, but it was so repetitive, and it was always something. It was always, it changed. But like distractions, people would talk about things for days and days and days, and then all of a sudden something new would come along, and then everybody's attention diverted to that. That's like a tactic that the politicians and the government and the media use so that you quit following up on that stuff. It's almost like they're trying to keep it new. But then again, it's so ridiculous a lot of times that, you think to yourself, God, how could this be? You know what I mean? But then you got your people out there that, they wholeheartedly believe this stuff because, they'll believe anything that fucking Tooth Fairy tells them, whatever. But anyway, I had to get away from, the rabbit hole kind of stuff, because a lot of the stuff seemed logical, even as far-fetched as it might be. They really made it believable. Now, if you watch Brad Barton, and I'm sorry, Brad, if you ever see this video, but I got to use you as an example, because I think that whole believing everything you're told stuff really radiated from like the things that Brad Barton was watching, and I've noticed he's gotten better about it over the years. He's not so like hardline, this and that. He tries to look at it objectively. Now, Mike the Patriot Cook, on the other hand, has never really followed up on any of the rabbit hole kind of things or the what they call conspiracy theories. Most of the stuff that he reports or he talks about, he has media facts to back it up. But it wears you down, man. These things wear on your emotions so bad, because it opens your eyes to what's actually going on in the world, and you see this stuff firsthand, and you're like, man, is that really what's happening? How do we not know for all this time and all these years that these kinds of things are happening? Not only in government, but I mean, just like these flat earthers. God, what's up with you people? These people that believe that the earth is flat and there's like an ice wall all the way around this landmass, and it holds the water. Did everybody ever seen that? What was that Jim Carrey movie called that had oh my god, I can't remember the name of the movie, but Jim Carrey was in it, and the something show. Oh god, D, help me out here. Something show. What was the name of that movie? The Truman Show. That's what it was called. Well, in the Truman Show, the world was flat, and it was like this wall around it, and this guy Truman was supposed to be some kind of like experimental character in this movie, where like everybody was watching him. You know what I mean? There was all these hidden cameras. Just go watch the movie. It's called The Truman Show. But anyway, so I mean that kind of stuff. A lot of people believe that man landed on the moon. I'll never. I've seen footage and theories and facts that even though people thought this shit was true for years, I tend to think that it's not true. I don't think man's ever been on the moon, to be honest with you. Think about it like this. In 1969, we didn't have the technology that we had today, okay? He had black kids because his wife cheated on him with someone else. Oh, The Truman Show? Is that what you're talking about? Being mean to people, being negative are two different things. Never said you were negative. Oh. Oh boy. Here we go. All right. Anyway, so think about it like this. In 1969, we didn't have the technology to communicate like we do today. Now, CB radios, yeah. Ham radio, yeah. Telephones, no. Okay. So, like, cell phones didn't come until much later. And we didn't have the technology, I don't think. Well, it's been proven that we didn't have the technology to successfully shoot a rocket into the air, have a pod land on the moon, guys go up there and kick around rocks and stuff like that, and then the ship take off from the moon, come back to Earth and land. I don't think so. So if you ever have a chance to watch a movie, The Truman Show, okay. If you ever have a chance to watch the movie called Capricorn 1, that'll give you the perfect analogy about how they pulled off the moon landing. And of course, Capricorn 1 is a story about how they faked a Mars landing. The U.S. government and NASA faked a Mars landing. So basically, it's the same thing. And, it's like, why are there shadows? These guys are supposed to be on a moon where, like, the light, is coming from one direction. Then why are there shadows all around these people? You know what I mean? It just, and who was there shooting the video? I mean, they would have had to have got, because when you look at some of the footage when these guys landed on the moon, supposedly, you see like the capsule that they came out of, right? And then you see the astronauts like jumping around and stuff. And who shot the video? you couldn't put but two people on the freaking moon if it's even true. So who shot the video? Where did they get the pictures from? Who took the pictures of the two astronauts? You know what I mean? With the spaceship in the background. I mean, there's just, again, it's attention to detail, and you just really got to keep an open mind. And like we were all taught, and when I was in school, yeah, man landed on the moon, and stuff like that. There's another theory too that I've heard talk about, with the Space Solar Challenger, back in 19, what was that, 85, 86, whenever it was that the Space Shuttle Challenger blew up. I've heard that was a hoax. I don't know for a fact that it is. I haven't seen footage on it, but there was a rumor that the people that were on, like the pilot and that school teacher that was like the first civilian ever to go into space, um, that it was such a tragedy, but then it was faked because that was a way. Have a lovely rest of your day too. I love you too, baby. You have a good day. I'm at home anyway. I'm getting ready to get off here, but I mean, there's a theory that these people are still alive, and I've seen videos, about people like these doppelgangers. These people look just like them. So, that's six of one, half a dozen of the other. It could be true. It couldn't be true. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not an astrologist. I'm not a NASA astronaut. I didn't sleep in a hotel inn or a hotel last night, Holiday Inn Express or whatever it is. I was trying to use a punchline I've heard before, but it didn't come out right. So anyway, all right, you guys have a good day. We'll talk at you again later. I'll be on Friday. Peace. Come back and see me.